Welcome to the new episode of Digital Supply Chain Insights in Action. As you always know, we try to have meaningful conversation with guests who comes as practitioners in interesting industries. So today I have a great pleasure to do a conversation with Phil Guido, who is Executive Vice President and Chief Commercial Officer of AMD. Welcome, Phil.
It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you today.
Thank you, Phil, for joining us and having in mind all the buzz around the AI boom around, some call it bubble, some call it, the next big revolution and evolution in business in the way of that we are living. But the key thing is that a lot of people neglect that without the right infrastructure, actually, nothing can work. And you hold these strings of the infrastructure. So what I wanted to start the conversation with is, from your perspective as a leader, what are the most pressing challenges, if we can call it that way, in supply chain resilience in the industry you are in of semiconductors today, and how they are shaping your strategy?
It's a great question, and you think about the market, how dynamic it is today. And when you look at the industry today, supply chain resiliency is really being shaped by, three converging pressures. The first is growing technology, the complexity of it. The second is, the unbelievable global surge in demand for compute around the world. And the third is really the pace of geopolitical change. As a result of all these, we're seeing customers focus on the intensity, the agility, the reliability, because they want to know, what scenarios are out there, but they need to know transparently when disruptions may arise. They count on AMD to deliver, on time, reliable, ensuring continuity operations because our customers depend on us, right? So they're looking for solutions that they can deliver, fast, data-driven decisions on performance compute platforms that are out there. And it's all evolving. It's evolving dynamically and it's happening real time. And so to deliver on these commitments, we've designed our supply chain to optimize for resiliency in a few key ways. First, it's really global diversity within the network. We need to be multi-source production. And so we run across multiple suppliers in geography. That gives us the agility and continuity when environments shift and allows us to be proactive and think ahead. The second is really the collaboration in our relationships. You can't really have a transaction in these deep partnerships. They rely on the quality standards, the timeline, the strategic needs that we provide them that supports their business imperatives. So we ensure that its critical capacity is reserved in these agreements, that we meet their demand, especially as their demands are changing real time. And really the third is how we embed agility. It's really smarter forecasting into the operations. We start to run scenario planning, incremental inventory, and then we start to think about, how do you leverage AI and predictive analytics, demand projections, optimizing logistics, and to minimize risk. When I think about all these factors, it's a tremendous amount of flexibility and the agility that positions us in a very dynamic environment today. So for us, whether we're working with our hyperscalers, our partners, all the AI infrastructure, the OEMs, our key partners in the supply chain, we just need to work together to look at that whole value chain so we're able to deliver on our commitments to them and support their business imperatives. That gives them confidence in AMD and what we're able to provide.
I would use one word which actually a phrase you shared, and I'll build on it. You said actually that you are becoming a continuity partner to your customers, which is an amazing statement, having in mind that you are then connecting horizontally big important segment of their resilience of supply chain, and actually you keep them focused on their own business, which is core, and you provide them the infrastructure to build on. And that brings me to the second question, which actually is leading towards your ecosystem. Like, what improvements or new approaches have you implemented with your partners and suppliers network, that potentially you are most proud of, and what lessons could others learn from your experience? Because it's a
Sure.
very dynamic system which you now shared with us.
Yeah. So over the past few years, we've really redefined how we work with our suppliers, this whole supply chain, moving from transactions to true strategic partners to drive co-collaboration, co-innovation together, right? This is very important, right? So one of the collaborations that we're very proud of is our commitment around sustainability and efficiency in our supply chain. We've made, I would feel, real substantial progress by embedding sustainability into how we plan and optimize our operations. This is go from logistic packaging and how we enable our foundries on cleaner energy and all, resource efficiencies. So over 80% of our top suppliers have now a set of commitments to science-based emissions reduction targets. We collaborate on this. We do this collectively. We reduce supplier emissions. This is really, collaborating, co-creating, and we did this by more than 30% since 2020. So this is built on strong relationships, our partnerships, where we have aligned our capacity. We take a look at how do we mitigate risk, how do we transition technology. This allows us to move at a much faster pace in this dynamic world. And as market changes, we give confidence in our ability to meet these new demands. I'd say the key lesson for all of us is that resiliency and sustainability, there aren't separate goals. They really enforce each other and they work together in harmony. When our partners share the same values and goals as we do, we both make better, faster decisions, a lot less waste. We deliver better outcomes for everybody. And more importantly, for not only outcomes for our customers and the overall the planet, right? Everything gets better. And it's just not the right thing to do, but it's the best thing for us all to do to make us faster, leaner, more resilient as a business. And it's a win-win environment when we really do this and co-create and collaborate together and have common metrics that we're all aligned on.
Co-creation and collaboration, I think, are the two words which are really changing the landscape today in the relationship in between the customers and the companies. And it's fascinating in a way of how you organize your system, and we would call it in DSCI a constellation of value. It's not about the transaction, but actually creating a value, three-dimensional value chain where your partners, suppliers, and your customer actually grow all together and then support each other through building on the goals, as you said, of resilience and sustainability, because none of the organizations can do them actually on their own. And as the chain is stronger, it's more resilient and it's stronger in that sense. And then again, this can bring me to the question I would like to round up our conversation with, and that's, we have to touch it. Looking ahead, how do you see the technologies like AI transforming your supply chain? And also, I think it will be very interesting to people who follow our podcast is, are there any specific use cases you are actively exploring or already deploying?
Sure. Well, look, we're really proud at AMD of, leveraging the technology, right, that we're developing. So we're harnessing AI to make our supply chain more resilient, more agile, innovative. And, when you think about it, it's about intelligence through continuous learning, right? That's about agility, right? So from predictive demand forecasting, inventory optimization, to supply risk detection and scenario planning. The AI tools allow us to sense and shift earlier, act faster, whether that's a means of reallocating capacity or optimizing logistics in various routes. So let's kind of share how AI is really making these impacts, right? So we're monitoring disruptions. We use AI to continuously track potential risk. That's from natural disasters to human-made events, so we can plan ahead and keep operations running smoothly. This is critical. Second point, we analyze the logistical data, right? AI helps us analyze trends, pinpoint bottlenecks, uncover opportunities, reduce costs, improve efficiency. Again, another speed of execution. And then the third is really, running real-time simulations. We're exploring AI-driven models that allow us to test, what-if scenarios before making critical decisions, help us move faster, greater confidence. The real opportunity to me lies in how we continue to leverage AI to drive smarter, faster decision making. But how do we learn from this, right? How do we enable the next wave of automation? How do we move to autonomous systems powered by agentic AI? When we combine the deep expertise of our people at AMD, we have great talent here. Coupled with the power of AI, we're creating truly intelligent supply chains. And that's one constantly learning, innovating, adapting, unlocking the potentials every day. And when you bring the technology with the human intelligence and you bring that all together, you make better, faster decisions, and you really help provide tremendous value to your ecosystem, your partners, and your customers, ultimately helping them all achieve their business goals, their business imperatives. So I got to tell you, it's an exciting time, and we're just really excited to be part of all this, and frankly, to share some of the stories that we're seeing.
Phil, this really sounds very exciting, and what you shared brings me to a conclusion that I think I can bravely say that with what you shared, we are exiting from a knowledge economy and entering the intelligence economy, where actually the synergy between the human brain and knowledge, and then agentic AI will create the new value of supply chain going forward. So it will be very exciting to schedule another conversation together, especially once your projects, which you are aiming in this direction, starts going into production mode, and then learn about that success.
Thank you, Marco. We'd be delighted to continue this conversation. Like I said, it's an honor and privilege, and it's great to see you again.
Thank you very much, Phil. We wish you all the best with the plans you shared. I would like to thank everybody who joined us to follow the Digital Supply Chain Insights in Action, and stay tuned for more.